Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, you want to do Kirtan, Prabhu? You're mute on. You're on mute, Prabhu.
I will do Jayarada Madhu a few minutes, then we can start.
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha, Girivaradhari, Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha, Jaya Girivaradhari, Jaya Girivaradhari, Jaya Yashodanandana, Jaya Vrajana Ranjana, Jaya Yashodanandana, Jaya Vrajana Ranjana, Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, you want us to share the screen?
Sorry?
You want us to share the screen, or would you be doing that?
Ideally, if you share better.
Yeah, I can share.
Yes. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnana-janakalaakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadadi Sapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Rupadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sakagana Raghunathantam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sakitam Krishna Chaitanya Dev Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sakakana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pantum Langete Gitim Yatripatamaham Vande Shri Guru Dina Tarinam Paramananda Madhamam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Nama Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Jayapataka Swamin Niti Namine Namaha Acharya Padaya Nithai Kupapataya Gaurakata Madaya Nagara Gramatarine Kasturi Tilakam Lalata Patale Akshastale Gausuvam Nasagre Varamotikam Kartale Gonukare Kankanam Sarvange Harichandanam Sulalitam Kante Chamuktavali Gopastri Pariveshtito Vijete Gopala Chudamani Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Hare Krishna, with the mercy of Guru and Krishna, we are into the third canto, 28th chapter, teachings of Kapiladev to his mother, Devahuti. So in this chapter, the Lord is explaining about the Yoga Paddhati, how to control the mind, how to get detached and perform the yoga through which one can get back to the Lord. As we see here, this chapter at the beginning, it talks about performing duties. When we talk about performing duties, there are so much in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3 also. So a portion of it is explained here at the beginning of the chapter. Then as we are proceeding further into the chapter, we are getting into the system of controlling the mind. Again, we can refer to the Bhagavad Gita chapter 6 also. So let us start with the today's shloka. I hope so I will be able to cover all the 5 shlokas, I think so. It's very expansive references are there. Let us try to minimize it and compile this, okay? Sopyetaya charamaya manaso nivritya tasmin mahimyavasitaha sukha dukkha bhagye ketuttvamapi yasati kartari dukkhayoryat Swatman vidattha upalabdha paratma kashtha. Somebody can read the synonyms.
Hare Krishna. Vasudha Mataji can read the synonyms. Prabhu, translation also?
Yeah, one has to read the synonyms, translation, purport, everything. Let them be a little more quicker. Okay.
Vasudha Mataji, you read the word meaning. Param Prabha Mataji, you do the translation, and Sudha Mataji the purport. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji and Mataji. Synonyms: Saha, the yogi; Api, moreover; Etaya, by this; Charamaya, ultimate; Manasa, of the mind; Nivritya, by cessation of material reaction; Tasmin, in his; Mahimni, ultimate glory; Avasitha, situated; Sukha dukkha bhaye, bahye, outside of happiness and distress; hetutvam, the cause; api, indeed; asati, a product of ignorance; kartari, in the false ego; dukkhayo, of pleasure and pain; yet, which; swa atman, to his own self; vidatte, he attributes; upalabdha, realized; para atma, of the personality of Godhead; kastha, the highest truth. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, pranams. Translation by Prabhupada ki jai. Thus situated in the highest transcendental stage, the mind ceases from all material reaction and becomes situated in its own glory, transcendental to all material conceptions of happiness and distress. At that time, the yogi realizes the truth of his relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He discovers that pleasure and pain, as well as their interactions, which he attributed to his own self, are actually due to the false ego, which is a product of ignorance. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Pranams.
Hare Krishna. I request all the devotees just say Hare Krishna and start reading it.
Hare Krishna.
Dandavat Pranam and all may not be required.
Hare Hare Krishna. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Forgetfulness of one's relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead is a product of ignorance. By yoga practice, one can eradicate this ignorance of thinking oneself independent of the Supreme Lord. One's actual relationship is eternally that of love. The living entity meant to render transcendental loving service to the Lord. Forgetfulness of that sweet relationship is called ignorance, and in ignorance, one is impelled by the three material modes of nature to think himself the enjoyer. When the devotee's mind is purified and he understands that his mind has to be dovetailed with the desires of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he has attained the perfectional transcendental stage, which is beyond the perception of material distress and happiness. As long as one acts on his own account, he is subject to all the material perceptions of so-called happiness and distress. Actually, there is no happiness. Just as there is no happiness in any of the activities of a madman, so in material activities, the mental concoctions of happiness and distress are false. Actually, everything is distress. When the mind is dovetailed to act according to the desire of the Lord, one has attained the transcendental stage. The desire to lord it over material nature is the cause of ignorance, and when that desire is completely extinguished and the desires are dovetailed with those of the Supreme Lord, one has reached the perfectional stage. Upalabdha Paramatma Kashta. Upalabdha means realization. Realization necessarily indicates individuality. In the perfectional, liberated stage, there is actual realization. Nivritya means that the living entity keeps his individuality. Oneness means that he realizes happiness in the happiness of the Supreme Lord. In the Supreme Lord, there is nothing but happiness. Anandamayo Abhyasat. The Lord is by nature full of transcendental happiness. In the liberated stage, oneness with the Supreme Lord means that one has no realization other than happiness. But the individual still exists. Otherwise, this word, Upalabdha, indicating individual realization of transcendental happiness, would not have been used. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So in this verse, Lord explains about the highest position of transcendence. Because the mind is the one which allows us to relish this. But interestingly, how we handle the mind, that's more important. As Prabhupada explains, dovetailing. Because I'll tell you, the computer is there and the computer has got so much memory. And if you start downloading, it gets filled up, right? After some time, you realize these are all unwanted. Let me completely remove this and fill with something else. Similarly, even our mind are also same thing. We have to download it, or we have to connect it, or we have to think of who that is worthy. So automatically, when the mind is filled with the Lord alone, the mind is completely devoted towards the Lord. But unfortunately, the surroundings, the material contamination around us, distract us so much, and we are unable to remove it. Similarly, I'll give a very good, easy example to understand. A person goes out to meet his children or someone. There, they are disrespecting him, they are abusing it. If the person is thinking of it and he is not able to take it out because the false ego. So false ego, according to Bhagavad Gita, is nothing but ignorance or tamoguna. So as long as he is thinking his mind and the body are same, that is the problem. So what he does, he is completely brooding over it again and again. He goes to sleep, not able to sleep. So all this happened, and the mind is filled with what? Only worries. Due to what? Due to ignorance, or otherwise due to false ego. If he is thinking, oh, let them abuse, let them ill-treat me, but this is not for me because I am the soul. It is for my body. He will not bother. So for such person, the mind will be filled with the Lord and the Lord's thinking. So any amount of this attack on the body will not affect him. So this is very important how to approach it. Then here the translation goes, at that time, the yogi realizes the truth of his relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So once he is fixed in that, always remembering Krishna, then naturally he is re-establishing his lost relationship. So this way, he finds always in this material world, anything that is pleasure, anything that is pain, is not due to the material nature, all because of the interaction created by one's own activity. So all these are attributed to one's own self. Understood? One's own self means because he has done some activity and for which he has reaped the benefits. So all these things are due to the false ego, which is a product of ignorance. As we get into the purport, it's very interesting purport. There are so much of references. Let us try to cover as much as we can. So forgetfulness of one's relationship with the Supreme Lord is a product of ignorance. See, forgetfulness, how it happens? Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says in the Sikshashtakam, somehow or other, I have fallen into the material world. That means we have forgotten the Lord and we are pushed to the material world because our connection is lost. So such a person has to undergo all these material sufferings. And all the sufferings will affect him, but unfortunately he does not know the Atma is remaining aloof. Right? The living entity is meant to render transcendental service to the Lord. That means even though he has fallen from the Lord's abode, what he is supposed to do, he has to revive it first. And he has to revive his conscience and he has to revive the thinking of the Lord. Automatically, one can dovetail his mind. So by dovetailing the mind, automatically what happens? The mind goes to think of the Lord, serve the Lord possible ways. So he has attained the position of perfectional stage. Siddhi. So Siddhi is possible only at this level. And this stage is called as the transcendental level. We can call it as Shuddha Sattva. And what does it say? Which is beyond the perception of material distress and happiness. So the three gunas he has crossed and he has got a position wherein the Prakriti or the three gunas cannot attack him at all. Then, as long as acting on his own account, he is subject to the material perception. That's why I just now gave an example. Somebody is abusing, somebody is talking all filthy languages. This is a situation. But one should remain in a samadhi state. To be precise, even in the material world, there is no as such happiness and there is no as such miseries or sufferings. All that it is due to the state of mind. Why? Because we see in the Vedas, it is explained, there are two types of Atmas. One is the Baddhatma, another is the Muktatma. A Baddhatma looks in this material world happiness, but unfortunately it's short-lived. But he does not realize the unhappiness is following that, or distress is following, right? But whereas a Muktatma, even though he is in this material world, he has come for a specific purpose. And he is not affected by any of the happiness and the distress because he remains cool because it is not going to affect his body. Because he is away from the body, even if it affects it not. Because such a Muktatma always engages his body in the service of the Lord. So anything that is coming to him will not affect him. Because another point is, such a Atma is unattached to his body also. So in this reference, there are so many instances in the Bhagavatam, so many wonderful pastimes of the Lord himself and his devotees as well. So, as we see here, when the mind is doubted to act according to the desire of the Lord, one has attained the transcendental stage. That means one should give importance to the Paramatma situated. He is called as what? What Guru he is called as? Paramatma, how he called one Guru? He is also a Guru. What is the name?
Chaitya
Very good,
Guru.
Chaitya
Guru,
Guru.
Chaitya.
So Chaitya Guru is always there to guide us. So one who listens to that is unaffected by the material condition because he is above this ignorance. Okay. So as we see here, Upalabdha Paratma Kashtaha. This is a very important line. See, Upalabdha means one who realizes that. Labdha means receive. Upalabdha means realizing it. Okay. So he is realizing the Lord's presence within him. So naturally, such a person is in a liberated state. That's why he said Muktatma. Even though he is in the material world, he is unaffected by that. So such a state of mind is achieved once they remain always Krishna consciousness. That's possible. See, if you look at the Narada Bhakti Sutra, there is a book called what is that? Narada Bhakti Sutra. There it is explained Anandamayo Abhyasa. What does it say? Anandamayo Abhyasa. So that means the Lord is full of pleasure, full of transcendence, and full of Ananda, and full of Paramananda. That's why Lord is called as Paramananda Krishna. Right? He is not just Krishna, he is a Paramananda Krishna. So, those who are in the liberated state automatically gets the symptoms of the Lord and he is able to realize the Lord. What are the symptoms in the body? Automatically we see the Sikshataka. Pulakaya Nichitam Bapuhu Tavanama Grahane Bhavishyati. Ashishya Pada. No, not that. What is that? That's the Sikshataka verse. What does it say? The body shakes and the hair standing on one's own. All these are the symptoms. And tears flowing down from the eyes due to the
Nayanam Galadashrudaraya, Vadanam Gadgadharaya.
Pulakai Nichitam Bapukat, Tavanama Grahane Bhavishyati.
So these are the symptoms. Such a person is called as Anandamayo Abhyasa. He is able to enjoy the, not the word enjoy, relish the supreme Ananda, which is Paramananda. So all of that indicates individual realization of the supreme. Right? So this is the essence of this particular verse. What does it say? It talks about one should handle the situation, keeping their mind completely in connection with the Lord. Automatically, he will be able to overcome happiness and joy and distress and sorrow. Right? So there are two connections in this. As we go through the next few slokas, I will explain. One is the Rishabhadev and the other one is Jadabharta. Because both of them had no indication of bodily consciousness. Okay. In this connection, there is one important line we have to remember is the Lord always says Shreyan Swadharmo Vigunaha. What does it say? That means do your prescribed duty even though imperfectly, but never try to do others' duty. This is what it says. So that means here also the soul has to perform the duty connected to him, not to anything else, according to the prescribed one. He should never try for others. But nowadays, people are doing that because of envy. Right? For instance, according to the Varna Ashrama, it says, what are that? Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. So nowadays you cannot find a true Brahmana, very less. Right? Similarly, there is no true Kshatriya. So Bhagavatam explains, In the Kali Yuga, the fourth Varna, what is that? Shudra will try to impose as Kshatriya. So this is what he talks about it in the first part of it, activities performed. Okay, so let's move on to the next verse. Deham cha tamna charamah sthitam uttitam va siddho vipashyati yato abhyagamat swarupam daiva upetam ata daiva vashat apetam vaso yata prakritim madhira madandaha Deham chatam na charama stitam uttitam va siddho vipashyati yato adhyagama swarupam daivadupeta matha daiva vasadapetam vaso yata prakritim madhira madandaha. Synonyms, translation, purport, please.
Hare Krishna. Shanti Mataji, you do the synonyms, and Karpavalli Mataji, you do translation and purport both. They are small only, Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Deham, material body. Ta, and. Tam, that. Na, not. Charamaha, last. Sthitam, sitting. Utitam, rising. Va, or. Siddhaha, the realized soul. Vipashyati, can conceive. Yatha, because. Adhyagamat, he has achieved. Swarupam, his real identity. Daivat, according to destiny. Upetam, arrived. Atha, moreover. Daiva vasat, according to destiny. Daiva vashat, according to destiny. Apetam, departed. Vasaha, clothing. Yatha, as. Parikritam, put on. Madhira mada andha.
Madhira madandaha.
Madhira manda andha.
No, madandaha.
Madantaha. Okay, together. Okay, Prabhu. Yeah. Madhira madantaha. Yeah. One who is blinded by intoxication. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. There is a verse in the Bhagavatam also, Unmadandaha. So that means he is intoxicated by ignorance. Okay, continue, please.
Translate. Hare Krishna. Translation. Because he has achieved his real identity, the perfectly realized soul has no conception of how the material body is moving or acting. Just as an intoxicated person cannot understand whether or not he has clothing on his body. Purpose. This stage of life is explained by Rupa Goswami in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. A person whose mind is completely dominated with the desire of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and who engages 100% in the service of the Lord forgets his material bodily demands. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Here it talks about the Unmadandaha. Right? What is that? It's a very special position. One should understand Madhira Madanda. Here, what does it say? Madhira. Madhira means he is completely absorbed. What is that absorbed? Fully Krishna consciousness. And how he is blind. How he is blind? Due to intoxication. And what type of intoxication? It's a spiritual intoxication. We have to understand that. That's why we have to be very careful. There are two types of intoxication. A person completely absorbed in Krishna consciousness, as I told you, all the symptoms can be seen in his body. Right? They go crazy. People will talk, oh, what is this? Why he is behaving like this? It's very simple. As we see here, Lord Krishna wanted to relish the realization of a devotee, and he took the incarnation as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Right? What is it? Another thing is Channa Avatar. People cannot see he is the Lord's incarnation. They can see only him as a normal person. But unfortunately, when the same Lord goes in front of the Lord Jagannath and standing next to the Dujastamba, he goes into ecstasy, and all his actions and bodily, they nowadays use body language, they call it as so stylish word. So this body language of him can be understood. He is in the Madira Madandaha. And he will not bother about the surrounding. He will have no shyness or no sort of any symptom of this type. But what is this possible is only one is submerged into the Krishna consciousness, not margina, submerged, because he goes deep down into the Krishna consciousness. So this is what a realized soul perform it. Right? And what does it say? He cannot understand there is a cloth on his body. This is the topmost level. So in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Rupa Goswami, one of the disciples of Srila Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he has explained, he has gone to the extremes. A person who has gone to the extreme has 100% service of the Lord. So for him, the demands of the body is completely neglected because he forgot it, not neglected to be precise. Because neglect means knows and neglecting, but here he forgets it. See, this symptom can be seen in the Rishabhadev, especially when we see the Rishabhadev's pastimes. One can understand how he has done it. Let us quickly see a few things. In the 5th canto, chapter 6, the characteristics of Chaitanya Rishabhadev is explained, and how he does it, everything, it's all explained very clearly. He is like a madman. People around him think he is crazy. And he has got no proper dresses on his body, and he urinates and he does everything, and on which he lies down. So for a common man, they cannot understand this Rishabhadev is none other than incarnation of Krishna. Because according to the Bhagavatam, it is explained, Rishabhadev left his body in such a situation, he was not attached to his body. Even then, when he was burnt to ashes by the forest fire. Can you imagine that? It's not possible because he entered into the fire so coolly. Because the seed of fruitive activity is completely burnt. How it is burnt? Again, through the knowledge fire. See, knowledge has got so many comparisons. Knowledge is compared to light, knowledge is compared to sword, knowledge is compared to fire. So when we say knowledge is compared to light, when there is darkness, it dissipates when knowledge comes. Similarly, when there is attachment, the same knowledge comes to the rescue as a sword to cut off the bondage. Similarly, the same knowledge is compared to fire when activities which are performed in the fruity conditions are also burned by knowledge. That means the detachment process is achieved. So all the spiritual properties and mystic powers are automatically manifest, but they will never use it for the purpose. So yet, Bhakti Yoga is not affected by these mystic powers. Try to understand. Though they possess all these mystic powers, those who are in the Bhakti Yoga will not try to manipulate. Nowadays, we can see there are certain people, those who possess some mystic powers, right? But these are small mystic persons. Never forget it. Krishna is called as the master of mystics. So as we see here, Rishabhadev has got all these things. But what happened? Yet he is in the Bhakti Yoga, automatically all these mystic powers could not divert him. Right? That's why Prabhupada writes, an ordinary yogi is captivated by these mystic powers. Automatically, what happens when he is captivated? Naturally, all his progress will be checked, slowed down. At one point, it will be stopped also. But a true yogi will never look for it. This is a very important. Yoginam api sarvesham, what does the Bhagavad Gita says?
Madhyate
Madhyate Shraddhavan bhajate yomam tamekta samamtaha. So the person who is always engaged in my thought is the topmost yogi. So now we can understand, right, which is the topmost yoga, Bhakti Yoga. That's why, though you possess some powers due to yogic process, but your Bhakti Yoga person will not be affected. So this is what explained in this verse translation as well as the meaning also. You can understand how it is happening. So as we see here in the purport also, Rupa Goswami explained the same thing. We will try to compare the Rishabhadev. So we have compared Rishabhadev here. Now we will compare Jala Bharat in the next verse, which is more suitable for us. Okay. Let's move on to the next verse. Dehopi daiva vasaga kalu karma yavate Swarambakam prati samikshata eva sasuhu tamsa prapancham adhirudha samadhi yoga. See, this word samadhi yoga is a very, very important phrase in this shloka. Try to remember it. It's a very, very important verse. Swapnam punarna bhajate pratibuddha vastuhu dehopi daiva vasagha kalu karma yavat swarambakam prati samikshata eva sasuhu tamsa prapancham adhirudha samadhi yogaha Swapnam punarna bhajate pratibuddha vatsuhu. Okay.
Hare Krishna. Suma Mataji, you do the word meaning. Sharmila Mataji, do the translation, and I'll read the purport. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Deha, the body, api, moreover, daiva, vashagaha, under the control of the personality of Godhead, kalu, indeed, karma, activities, yavat, as much as, swa arambhakam, begun by himself, pratisamikshate, continues to function, eva, certainly, sa asu, along with the senses, tam, the body, saprapancham, with its expansions, adhirudha, samadhi yoga, being situated in samadhi by yoga practice, swapnam, born in a dream, puna, again, na, not, bhajate, he does accept as his own, pratibuddha, awake, vastu, to his constitutional position. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Translation of Sumataji? Okay. Okay, Mataji.
Yeah, translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The body of such a liberated yogi, along with the senses, is taken charge of by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and it functions until its destined activities are finished. The liberated devotee, being awake to his constitutional position and thus situated in Samadhi, the highest perfectional stage of yoga, does not accept the byproducts of the material body as his own. Thus, he considers his bodily activities to be like the activities of a body in a dream. Thank you, Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The following questions may be posed. As long as the liberated soul is in contact with the body, why don't the bodily activities affect him? Doesn't he actually become contaminated by the action and reaction of material activities? In answer to such questions, this verse explains that the material body of a liberated soul is taken charge by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is not acting due to the living force of the living entity. It is simply acting as a reaction to past activities. Even after being switched off, an electric fan moves for some time. That movement is not due to the electric current, but in a continuation of the last movement. Similarly, although a liberated soul appears to be acting just like an ordinary man, his actions are to be accepted as the continuation of past activities. In a dream, one may see himself expanded through many bodies, but when awake, he can understand that those bodies were all false. Similarly, although a liberated soul has the byproducts of the body, children, wife, house, etc., he does not identify himself with those bodily expansions. He knows that they are all products of the material dream. The gross body is made of gross elements of matter, and the subtle body is made of mind, intelligence, ego, and contaminated consciousness. If one can accept the subtle body of a dream as false and not identify oneself with that body, then certainly an awake person need not identify with the gross body. As one who is awake has no connection with the activities of the body in a dream, as awakened, liberated soul has no connection with the activities of the present body. In other words, because he is acquainted with the constitutional position, he never accepts the bodily concept of life. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. See, this is an amazing verse. That's why I told you this verse has to be memorized because it has got such a potency of so many important phrases. One is the Samadhi Yoga. Then it talks about the Lord taking control of one's body. That is called Daiva Vasagaha. Right. So, if you look at the second canto, first chapter, therein there is a verse called as Rishikena Rishikesa Sevanam Bhakti Ruchate. That is coming in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. And in the Bhagavatam second canto, first chapter, it says, what is that? I forgot again suddenly. Okay, whatever it is. So that verse is also talking about the importance of serving the Lord. Bhagavat Pranitham. What is that? Bhagavat Pranitham is very important. So here also, the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, what does it say? Rishikena Rishikesa Sevanam Bhakti Ruchate. So, who is Rishikesha?
Krishna.
Krishna. And what is that expansion of this Rishikesha? Anybody can say that? The real translation.
You can control of senses from
Control of
Lord of
senses.
senses.
Master of
Control of
Master.
senses.
The right word is master. Okay, no problem. Master, control, everything's okay. So, master of the senses. Okay. Though he is the master of the senses, but what some small independence is given to us, and we get attracted to the material things, and we get drowned in the material things. So the body is attracted towards material things, and it is immersed into the material objects. So who is taking control there at that situation? The body is taken control by whom?
Mind, Prabhuji.
No. Who is that? Who's
For one
control?
who is liberated, Prabhuji.
No, ma. I said, those who are immersed in the material activity, those who are completely enjoying the body for all material enjoyment. Who is taking care of, who is controlling their
False ego.
not false ego, Maya.
Maya.
So I cannot say we. So those who are completely materialistic persons, their body is controlled by Maya through Prakriti, that is three gunas. Clear? Here, the verse here, Kapila, what does he say now? Daiva Vasagaha. Vasha means under control. Whose control? Daiva Vasaha, under the control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, the real meaning of Rishikesa is utilized here because he is the master of that and he has to control it. But unfortunately, he has given some minute independence and we misuse it. Clear? This is a very important frame in this shloka. Similarly, as I told you, Samadhi Yoga is also very crucial because a person has to remain in Samadhi, means this is possible only when he gets completely bound by the Daiva Vasagaha. In the previous words also we were looking at it, he does not have any bodily demands. We saw the same thing here. Okay, it's a continuation. That's why it says Abhiruda Samadhi Yoga. The previous phrase is also Abhiruda important. Because how is it possible? Because of the practice. Okay, so getting into the translation, the body is such a liberated yogi, along with the senses, He's taken charge by the Supreme Lord. This is what I said. What are the symptoms? Just now we saw that in the Sikshashtakam. Nayanam galadasru dhareya. Vadanam gadgadharudaya gira. That means he is not shaking his body. He is not making or shedding tears like applying glycerin, right? But it's all happening naturally. What does that naturally means here? Under the charge of the Supreme Lord. Clear? So the functions until it's destined or activities are finished. So he does so many activities in the material world, unattached. But unfortunately, people will say, oh, he talks about so many things, but he does something funny. People will say he is crazy. But they cannot understand the real knowledge because they do not have any sastric reference. They have got seen everything in the material world and they compare to that. But this is above the materialistic plane. So he is in the above liberated stage. That's what it says, no? The liberated devotee being awake to his constitutional position, situated in samadhi. See, I'll tell you, all these verses require lots of time to analyze it and compare it. So we will try to cover as much as we can again, as I told you. It says the highest perfectional stage of yoga. See, when we look at the Hanuman Chalisa, right? In the Hanuman Chalisa, Hanuman is glorified. What is that? Ashta Siddhi Nava Siddhi. What is that? Can anybody chant that?
Ashtashritti Navandike Data Hasarade Dina
Janaki Mata.
Okay.
Rama Rasayana Tumare Basa Sada Pura Pratike Data.
Okay, 1 minute. So in that, can you think of it? Hanuman is a perfect yogi. He has achieved the samadhi. That's why anything he does it, he takes the name of Lord Rama. And whatever he does it, it is not for his gratification, sense gratification. It is for the pleasure of it. Every time, every moment he does it, it is completely yoga siddhi. But all this yoga siddhi are utilized for the services of the Lord. When he goes to Lanka, when he goes to get that special medicinal herbs, all this is because of that. So here we can compare Hanumanji is a perfect yogi. Because he does so many things in this material world, but he is unattached. Because he remains in samadhi. Even killing the asuras in the Lanka, he does know, he burnt the Lanka many places, right? All he does it not for his satisfaction. Try to understand. He wanted to caution them, the Lord is going to come very soon, beware, surrender now. Like this, he gets. So I tell you, when we get into Ramayana and Hanuman, there is so much to talk. Because this month is called as Karkata Mas. It's very, very important Ramayana Mas also. We read Ramayana very regularly. So a few lines of Ramayana we have gone through. All glories to Hanumanji. Okay. So let us get into that. This byproduct of samadhi is what? He is not affected by the body. But he will be continuing to do so many activities, but he is unaffected. That's why his activities are finished only when the Lord wants it. Then only he goes back to his subject. Thus, he considers his body activities to be like the activities of a body of a dream. So, he thinks it is a dream only. He never thinks it is his own. So, when we see in this situation, many times Prabhupada writes, there are so many liberated souls in this material world, but they are unaffected by the modes of nature. As we see in the Bhagavatam, Krishna, he appears in the form of a human body, but he is unaffected. He appears in so many other forms, he is unaffected. That means the Lord is always spotless. That's why he is called as Vishuddha Sattvam Tavadhama Shantam. Indra, when he is glorifying the Lord in 10:27, 4 or 5 some verses, he is telling Vishuddha Sattvam Tavadhama Shantam Tapomayam Dvasta Rajas Tamaskam. Dvasta means destroyed. Tamaha, Rajaha, dono destroyed. Maya Prabhavo. So Maya Prabhava, or the flow or current, cannot touch. To the Lord it says. Who says? Indrasi. But as we read here, Prabhupada purports in many places, Prabhupada also says there are so many muktatmas in this material world. They came for a specific purpose of the Lord's desire. So they come and do each and one. So for them also, the material three qualities cannot touch them. Clear? So here, this is called the awakened stage. So whatever they perform is like a dream. So one good example to understand is given here. See, we are attached to our body. Little more deeper when we say, talk about it, my hand, my legs, right? We always say, no, my leg is paining. We say that. We never say leg is paining, right? So we attach it. The same organ, when it goes out of the body, what happens? Is it yours? No. But we don't realize it. So everything we think it is connected. So these are all the connections which is called as attachment. Similarly, with this body, we have got so many byproducts. So many byproducts, right? Children, relation, whatnot. So all these things we think ours. This is a total ignorance. And we think this is my car, this is my house. So at all points, one is completely devoured by the Maya. Right? He will not be able to come out of this. That's why if you look at many of the prayers of the great acharyas, great devotees in the Bhagavatam and other things also, it is so well explained. Let me not get attached to that. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Shikshashtakam what is it? Na danam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitamba, jagati sakamye. That's one. Then when we go to Vrutrasura 6:11, 24 or 27, one verse he says, Atma Atmaja Dara Geheshu. What does he say? Atma. Atma means self. Atmaja means the son and children. Dara means wife. Geheshu means girl. So let me not get attached to these things. Who says? Vrutrasura. Similarly, if you get into the Mukundamala, Kulasekara Alvar, one of the 12 Alvars of the Sri Sampradaya, he explains, let me not get trapped by these jackals or whatever it is. Even Rishabhadev, no, not Rishabhadev, Jadabharata also compares them as jackals and so many things. It's a strong verses, looks very hard to us, but that's the truth. So, Mukundamala, Kulasekara Alvar, what does he say? This type of animals can completely conquer us and drag it. But let me not get attracted to that. So this verse completely talks about the detachment towards material byproducts and the material things around us. That means vairagya is very important. So vairagya comes when you reach the samadhi state. Naturally, when we see here, this gross body is gross material elements, and unfortunately, it is contaminated due to the situations. Because mind, intelligence, false ego, right? All these three things are called as subtle body, right? But we should understand how to handle the subtle body. If you dip it in material things, it becomes contaminated. If you dip it in the Krishna consciousness, it is purified. Very simple. That's why when we say false ego, we use the word as, we never say ego, we say false ego. Clear? So one should understand these things. So this is purely a second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Very simple. What is it called as? Chapter name. Second chapter.
Sankhya Yoga.
Very good. Very good. It talks about spirit and matter. Here also, many people, those who do not understand Kapiladev, his instructions clearly, and all the compiled so many chapters of Rishabhadev instruction to Devahuti, they say, oh, he is a Sankhya philosopher. He is not only a Sankhya philosopher, he talks about the Bhakti Yoga so much on that. When he talks about this yoga, he has tried to understand, he is not talking about the yoga paddhati. He talks about the Bhakti Yoga paddhati more. As we read the translation, you can understand, here is very clear, Deva, Huti is getting the right instructions from his wonderful incarnation son, Kapiladi. Okay, I think so. I have to go to the next sloka. Time is getting out. Hare Krishna. Okay, moving on to the next verse. Yata putracha vittacha pratanmatyah pratiyate apyatmat venabi madat dehade purushas tata yata putrascha vittascha pratanmatyah pratiyate apyatmat venabi madat matat dehe dehe purushas tata. So synonyms everything, please.
Hare Krishna. Subharav Prabhuji, you can do the word meanings, and Krishnamurti Prabhuji, you can do the translation. Purport, anybody wants to opt for purport, otherwise we'll wait for someone. Subharav Prabhuji, you do the word meaning, and Krishnamurti Prabhuji the translation.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Yatha, the synonyms by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Yatha, as, Putrat, from a son, Cha, and Vittat, from wealth, Cha, also, Prithak, differently, Martya, a mortal man, Pratiyate, is understood, Api, even, Atmatvena, by nature, Abhimatat, for which one has affection, Deha, Adeha, from his material body, senses, and mind, Purusha, the liberated soul, Tatha, similarly. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki jai. Because of great affection for family and wealth, one accepts a son and some money as his own. And due to affection for the material body, one thinks that it is his. But actually, as one can understand that his family and wealth are different from him, the liberated soul can understand that he and his body are not the same. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Pranams
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna. Anita Mataji, purport, please. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The status of real knowledge is explained in this verse. There are many children, but we accept some children as our sons and daughters because of our affection for them, although we know very well that these children are different from us. Similarly, because of great affection for money, we accept some amount of wealth in the bank as ours. In the same way, we claim that the body is ours because of affection for it. I say that it is my body. I then extend that possessive concept and say it is my hand, my leg, and further, it is my bank balance, my son, my daughter. But actually, I know that the son and the money are separate from me. It is the same with the body. I am separate from my body. It is a question of understanding, and the proper understanding is called Pratibuddha. By obtaining knowledge in devotion service or Krishna consciousness, one can become a liberated soul. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So a few points we have seen it in the previous verse. That also is here. So let us get into this verse. This is also very important verse because, as I told you, the entire chapter is full of complete Bhakti Yoga process. But how to apply it, how to dovetail it is explained here. So as we see here in the verse itself, what does he say now? Yata putrascha vittascha. Putra means children, vitta means wealth. So pratak means it is separate, it's different. Why? Because there is a word called Matya. Because the person who claims my son, my wealth, is going to pass away from the material body. So he is not able to remember it. But unfortunately, he says, Deha Adehe. That means he is in the material body, going to be ever, and he thinks that the senses are going to be enjoyed till the end, and he thinks in his mind he has got so much of future plan. But all things are dashed out by the material nature, which is Prakriti, which pushes one. So anything that is possessed in this material world does not belong to anyone. Everything belongs to Krishna. Right? Unless and until this philosophy is understood, one cannot get out of this attachment towards material things. That's why it comes to our help, which is called as Isopanishad. And what does it say? Ishavasyam idam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bunjitaha. Bunjitaha means whatever you put, bunjitaha magritaha kasya svidhanam. As long as one thinks everything belongs to Krishna, one cannot get this vairagya. One cannot get this detachment. If that detachment is not coming, if that vairagya is not coming, what happens? He thinks everything belongs to you. How? Because of envy. How? Because somebody else possesses so much and he is having envy on that. And he thinks I should possess that. I should grab it. I should snatch it. So he tries all his efforts to do that. For such a person, where is the point of liberation? No chance. No chance. That's why it's written here. But actually, as one can understand that his family wealth are different from him, the liberated soul can understand that he and his body are not the same. Right? One minute. Shloka number 611. Here he says, it's also called as the Chaturshloki Bhagavatam. Many of you may know that. Because Chaturshloki Bhagavatam always we refer 2933 to 36. Clear? This is called Chaturshloki Bhagavatam. There is another one set of Chaturshloki Bhagavatam. This is coming in the 6th canto, 11th chapter, verse number 24 to 27. Okay, in that only, who is talking? Vritrasura is talking. What does he say? Ajata paksha iva matarangagaha sanyamasatara sudartaha priyam priyam. Not this one, sorry, wrongly. The previous verse, I think. 20.
Sixth canto, which chapter, Prabhuji? Hare Krishna.
611. I got it. 26.
Okay.
611, 26, I got it. Not 611, 26. Again, I made a mistake. Wait. Every time I'm jumping from other words. Here he says very clear. 25 is also very wonderful sloka. Nanaka paksham. Say, Nanaka prashtam nachaparameshtyam na sarva bhumam rasadhipatyam nayoga siddhir apunar bhavamba samanjasatva virehaya kakshe. The translation goes like this. Oh my Lord, source of all opportunities. What is that? That's what we saw in the Isopanishad, source of all energy. I do not desire to enjoy Durvaloka, the heavenly planets, and the Brahmaloka, and I do not want to be the supreme ruler of the earthly planets or lower planets. I do not desire to be a master of the powers of mystic yogas. See here, he says he disowns that. And what does he say here further? Nor do I want liberation. I have given up at your lotus feet. So this is also a very important one. Again, coming back to the last verse in this set of 4 shlokas, the last shloka also explains very clearly the mood of a pure Vaishnava. Here he says, Mama uttama shloka janeshi shakyam samsara chakre brahmataha. Brahmataha means like a yantra wherein something is placed and it rotates, right? Brahmataha swakarma bihi tanmayaya. What is it? Maya's one. Tanmayaya atma atmaja darageheshu asakta. Asakta means what? Attachment. Asakta chittasya nanata bhuyat. So here the verse is so connected very well here. Oh my Lord, my Master, I am wandering throughout this material world as a result of my fruitive activities. Therefore, I simply seek friendship in the association of your pious and enlightened devotees. My attachment to my body, wife, children, and home is continuing by the spell of your external energy, Maya's energy. But I wish to be attached to them no longer. So this sloka also talks about the same subject. So such a person will not have any attachment towards the children, house, wife, everything, daughters. So as we see here, the body is not belonging to us. Naturally, the organs in the body is also not attached to us. So one should understand, I am separate from this body. That is the essence of it. But unfortunately, we misidentify the body and the Atma because of ignorance. The moment you gain the knowledge you are the Atma, automatically the spell of Maya goes off. So I am separate from my body. It is a question of understanding, and the proper understanding is called as Prabuddha. Sorry, Pratibuddha, awakened. See, generally when we sleep, we wake, right? We say that's awakened. No, that's not the awakening. The real awakening is one who gets the knowledge about the self. This is a very important thing. So let's move on to the last verse. Oh, I am exceeding the time. Can I take another 5 minutes?
Yes, Prabhu, no problem.
Okay. Verse number 40. This is the last verse for the day, right?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yetol mukat vishpulingat dhumat vapi sambhavat apyatmat venavi matat yatagnihi pratak ulmukat. Please, synonym translation.
Yeah, Shanti Mataji, you do the word meaning, and Vasudha Mataji, you can do the translation and purport. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Shalai Mataji?
Yeah,
Shalai
yeah.
Mataji.
Meenakshi Mataji, you do the word meaning, and Vasudha Mataji will do the translation purport. Or Meenakshi
Okay,
Mataji, you
Mataji.
do all three. Hare Krishna. It's
Okay, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Synonyms. Yeta, Yata as Ulmukta from the flames, Vishu Pullingata from the sparks, Dhumat from the smoke, Va or Api even, Swambhavat produced from itself, Api although, Atmatvena by nature, Abhimatat intimately connected, Yata as Agnihi the fire, Pritak different, Ulmukat from the flames. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The blazing fire is different from the flames, from the sparks and from the smoke, although all are intimately connected because they are born from the same blazing wood. Purport: although the blazing firewood, the sparks, the smoke, and the flame cannot stay apart because each of them is part and parcel of the fire, still they are different from one another. A less intelligent person accepts the smoke as fire, although fire and smoke are completely different. The heat and the light of the fire are separate, although one cannot differentiate fire from heat and light. Thank you, Mataji and Prabhuji. Pranams, Prabhuji.
So, as we are talking so much of philosophy, now to make it more clear, here Devahuti is explained with a wonderful analogy by Kapila Dev. See, these are the practical things with which we can easily understand. That's why this analogy is given so beautifully. Imagine Kapila Dev is so concerned about his mother's understanding. To make his point, to make his upadesh or instruction to more clear, he does it. That's why Bhagavatam, as we read, definitely we'll have some questions, we'll have some doubts. As we read further and further and further, one can understand the answers are lying there. Same way. Because the last 4 shlokas, we are talking about so much of philosophy. And this is an analogy all about it. Imagine there is a wood, right? The moment the wood is lit with ignite with fire, it blazing. So the fire is appearing from the wood, right? So the wood becomes fire, right? And that from that comes the flame, right? If there is no flame, or if it is little flame, then there is a smoke also, right? These are the stages. But when it is blazing fire, you can see some sparks coming out of it. And if it falls on you, also it will burn you. You might have felt it, or you could have come across it. But nowadays, everything is gas stove. Unless somebody has cooked in the olden style of firewood kitchen, there is no such possibility of understanding. Okay, so coming back to that, so here Kapila, what does he say? He talks about blazing fire, from which comes the flame, from which comes the spark, from which comes the smoke. But try to understand, all these 3 things are byproducts of the fire. But do they have the same effect? No. Because the moment the fire is put out, no flame, no spark, no smoke. Clear? But at the same time, one should understand these 3 things are byproducts of the fire. But it has to be understood, it is separate. If somebody is able to understand this basic thing, then easily they can understand. Because fire can burn away everything, but a spark cannot do anything. Similarly, the flame of a size, smaller one, cannot burn everything. But it's a huge flame, it can burn everything. Like this. Similarly, smoke. Smoke also keeps us in ignorance. Dhumera Vannihi. What is the sloka in the Bhagavad Gita? He says, we cannot see the fire, we'll be able to see the only smoke. And we see this is what. But from where it comes, we don't know, right? Similarly, here also, a less intelligent person accepts the smoke as fire. Although fire and smoke are completely different. The heat and light of the fire are also separate, although one cannot differentiate fire from heat and light. I'll tell you, such a wonderful analogy with which we can really understand the attachment towards the material things, the attachment towards the body, and the detachment towards these material things is important, the attachment towards the Lord is important. If somebody is able to analyze it, this is a real knowledge of the Sankhya. Hare Krishna. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. So today's 5 shlokas summarizes the whole thing. So Kapila Dev wants to emphasize the yoga paddhati, and in that yoga paddhati, mystic powers may be there, but the mystic powers will not be utilized for his own personal achievement, because he is in the bhakti yoga. So this mystic powers will not affect the bhakti yoga, because bhakti yoga is so strong. Similarly, as we see here in the next few chapters also, a person who is completely in trance or samadhi, he does not even know where there is cloth on his body or not. That's the example what we talked about is Rishabhadev. Then when we talked about the next level of understanding, a liberated yogi, he is completely unaware of the situation around. A good example is the Jada when he was hit by stones and he was abused, all the situations he was calm and cool. Even the robbers, when they took him to give Bali to Kali, he was cool. Kali has to come and protect him. That was the situation. So like this, there are so many wonderful examples. And the last two verses talks about the children and wealth. One should not get attracted towards that. Then the last one talks about the analogy, which is the fire, from which comes the flame, spark and smoke. Hare Krishna. So anybody has got any questions, any doubts, any comments, most welcome.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Chatishloki, what are the numbers, Prabhuji? Can you tell that?
6, 11, 23 to 26. This is the second set of Chatushloki Bhagavatam. The first set I told you already, 29, 33 to 36.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, the second set was told by whom to whom, Prabhuji?
This was spoken by Vrutrasura. In the previous life, he was Chitraketu, a top class devotee of the Lord. When he appeared as a Asura, right, he delivered this message to Indra in the battlefield.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
May I know the number, Prabhuji? 611? 611?
611, 23 to 26.
Hare
Thank
Krishna. Vasudha
So
Mataji.
my only
Gita
request
Mataji, you
is
can
all
ask
of
a
you
question.
memorize these two set of Chatushlokis. It's a very, very important shloka. Both the sets.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. How many sets of Chatishloki are there in Bhagavatam, Prabhuji?
Sorry, Mataji.
How many sets of Chatishloki are there in Bhagavatam?
So there are two sets. The primary set is the Lord himself speaks. Aham sarvasya. Sorry. Ahameva sameva agre. That is 2933. Shall I recite it quickly? If you allow me to do that, I can do it. Is it?
Yes, Prabhu, please.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. So you can open the screen quickly, 2933. Who is adding the screen? Please open it. Because
Rohini Mataji, if you can do that.
Oh, Mataji, I just logged out. Give me 2 minutes. I'm on my phone.
I will do it. No problem, Mataji. Give
Okay,
me.
okay. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Because from memory I am telling,
Hare
hopefully
Krishna,
I
Prabhuji. Can you give the Hare Krishna, Prabhuji?
Yeah,
Bhagavad Gita, Chatishloki, can you give the numbers, Prabhuji?
that is in the 10th chapter, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, which one you want me to do? 2 point?
2933 to 36. I will start reciting it, you open it. Okay?
Yes, Prabhu. Just a minute.
Ahameva sameva gre nanyat yat satasat param paschadaham yate tascha yo avasishye sosmyaham Rute artam yat pratiyeta na pratiyeta chatmani tadvidyadatmano mayam yata baso yata tamaha yata mahanti bhutani bhuteshu ucchavacheshvanu pravishtani apravishtani tata teshu mateshvaham etavadeva jignasyam tattva jignasun atmanaha anvaya vyatirekabhyam yasya sarvatra sarvada. This is the first 4 shlokas.
Prabhuji, the first 4 shlokas was told by Lord Krishna to Brahma, is it, Prabhuji?
Exactly.
In what pretext he told this, Prabhuji?
Because he wanted to, because if you look at the 9th chapter beginning, Brahma talks about the Lord as he sees the Lord. After the tapasya and all, he is looking at the Lord. So the first, second canto, 9th chapter, first around 15-20 verses, Brahma's glorification of Krishna. Then the Lord speaks about himself. This is what Ahameva Sameva Agri. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Then Mataji can open it 6:11:23. Aham Hare Tava Padaika Mula Dasanudaso Bhavitasmi Bhuyaha Manaha Smaret Asupate Gunamste Grunetavak Karma Karotu Kayaha Nanaka Prishtam Nacha Parameshtyam सार्वभौमं नरसाधिपत्यं न योगसिद्धिर् अपुनर्भवं वा समञ्जसत्वा विरहय्य काङ्क्षे अजातपक्षं इव मातरं गताः स्तन्यं वत्सतरा शुदार्ताः प्रियं प्रियेव विषितं विषन्ना मनो अरविन्दाक्ष दृदृक्षते त्वां मम उत्तमश्लोकजनेषु सख्युः संसारचक्रे भ्रमतः स्वकर्मभिः त्वन्मायया आत्मजद्धारगेहेषु आसक्तचित्तस्य ननाथ भूयात्। हरे कृष्णा। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। If somebody is interested in memorizing it, we can give you audios of these 8 slokas, even the Bhagavad Gita 4 slokas also. Generally, we recite regularly these 12 slokas because it covers both Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavatam.
Prabhuji, excuse me, sorry to interrupt. First thing at 2:33 to 36, no, Prabhuji, first sloka,
Sorry?
Srimad Bhagavatam.
Mataji, your voice is not clear, Mataji.
Hello.
He is asking for the numbers, Mataji, Bhagavatam. Mataji, I have texted Mataji. You can
Already
refer
it is
it.
there
Look it up in the
chat
chat,
box.
Mataji.
From the chat, Mataji.
From the chat.
Thank you, thank you.
If somebody is really want to memorize it, we can give some audios of these verses.
Yes,
We can
Prabhuji,
go-
that will be
Yes,
very
Prabhuji,
helpful.
that will be
Hare
very
Krishna.
nice for us.
Somebody has to take the number and do it. Connect to me. That's it.
Yeah, Prabhuji. Can I take your number, Prabhuji?
99403
Yes.
16593.
1659. 99403 16593.
Perfect.
Sure, Prabhuji. I'll
Hare
text you.
Krishna. Thank you
Hare
so much.
Krishna.
Then you can share to others. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, can we
Hare
take
Krishna,
three questions?
High number is there, Prabhuji. 99403.
99403.
It is there in the chat,
16593.
Mataji.
Okay, Prabhuji. Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Vasudha Mataji, you can take your call. Prabhu, can we take 2 questions?
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, Vasudha Mataji, please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, we keep on hearing this separation of body and soul, Prabhuji. But when we come to practical life and when we are, how many lectures we hear also, how much chanting or how much devotional also we are also. But simple thing, Prabhuji, if any pain comes in the tip of the finger also, we don't feel like to chant. Yes, we say Rama, Krishna, Narayana, but still that when I was hearing this 5 slokas, so much depth in philosophy, can you give us some tips? How can we work out on that, Prabhuji? Little by little, at least like chanting we will do.
Mataji, I'll tell you one thing. Krishna gives the tips for that. What does he say? Mano durnigraham chala. Right? It's very difficult. And what does he say? Abhyasena tu kaunteya. So it is only by practice. I'll tell you, when we talk about great pure devotional service, these are purely by practice. It's not in one time. It's not that easy. Because I'll tell you, we are all normal grahasthas. We are bound by so many things, right? But what is more important is slowly, when we keep trying this, if you look at the chanting process also, the mind goes everywhere, right? To bring it back again, it is the process, same process, keep chanting. Because if you look at any question answer session, Prabhupada gives the answer very simple. Because I remember my Guru Maharaj has given this answer to almost 7-8 places whenever we go for his lecture. The question is there always, Maharaj, I am unable to manage. My mind is going elsewhere. So these are all quite common. This is a perfect stage of going to the pure level. So your sincere desire is to get out of this, right? As long as you keep on trying, the Lord within you gives you the strength to come out of it. Clear? So keep chanting. That's the only medicine which can get you out of this material attachment. Is it okay, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes,
But what is more important is, Mataji, again and again, devotee association is also giving the further strength. The holy name has got all the potency, but to have the strength, the association is primarily important. Clear? That's what I'm telling. In a day, as many hours as you can spend with the devotees, and talk about Krishna, that itself gives you the strength. Clear?
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. No, but your essay is so wonderful. Huh? That's very interesting. Very interesting. Because there is a sincerity which speaks. Which Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Sunita Mataji, you can ask a question.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, pranams. Prabhuji, in Ishawasyam shloka, Tena Tyaktena Bunjita, Magrida Kasya Sviddhana. So how to differentiate between this is our quota and this is somebody else's quota, Prabhuji?
Oh, 1 minute. First of all, what did I say now in the beginning? Everything belongs to Krishna. Did we say or not?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Correct. That means my quota, does it arise then?
No, but the further shloka says, na Prabhuji, Tena Tyaktena Bunjita, Magrida Kasya Sviddhanam. Whatever
Okay.
is allotted to you, you should ask for only that. You should
What
be
does it
satisfied
say?
with that.
It is a
Yeah.
passive voice. Mataji, that the sentence is passive voice. We cannot decide. Clear? Allotted to you by whom? The Lord.
That
So
is
we
what, Prabhuji.
cannot understand
Exactly.
what is our quota.
Where is that greed comes, Prabhuji? This is not my quota, but I'm again, I'm aspiring or I'm desiring for somebody else's quota. How to understand that whether
That's
I'm
very wonderful.
going beyond my
This is a
quota?
very relevant question. This is a very relevant question. I'll tell you that. See, for instance, based on our karma, we are getting everything, whether it is happiness or distress. Because Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita profoundly talks about the karma and the reaction. And especially, Krishna gives so much talks on that karma alone. Because the karma is the one which you bind, which you are bound by repeated birth and death. Because if you look at the Ramanujacharya's one explanation according to the Bhagavad Gita, he says, a person or a jivatma, if he gets a human form, he says it's important he has to wipe off all the karmas. What does it say? He says, Ramanujacharya says, to wipe off all the karmas. That's why it says in the Bhagavatam also, Prahlad Maharaj, Durlabham Manusham Janma. So the moment one gets a human form, he has to revive his lost connection. The moment he gets that, automatically he will feel, I have already carried so much of good and bad deeds and results. Correct or not?
Yes, Prabhuji.
What we have to do here, in only human form, we can clear both the bad and good karma and make the account zero. Clear?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So, if we get something, for instance, we go to office, we get some salary, right? So, what is the thought to be there? Okay, this portion of whatever the amount is, I am getting as a salary because the Lord has showered some mercy. I have to spend half of it towards the Lord's services. This is the next level. Okay, but let us talk to your point only. Let us not deviate it here. So, whatever you are eligible, that is already allotted by the Lord. Okay, but people in general, they try to overwork, they try to get some increments and other things. Correct or not? Tell me.
Okay. Over enduring. That means over enduring.
Yeah, exactly. Very nice. So for this over endeavoring, again Prahlad says, Tat prayasana kartavyo. Yata ayuhu param na vindate kshemam. So if somebody does anything extra endeavor in material world, it is a loss of life and loss of time.
Yeah, yes, Prabhuji.
Clear? So whatever you work 8 hours, whatever you get it, be satisfied. Contented life. What is it called as? Contented life. But suppose there is one senior to you or some manager is there and he is getting so much or triple times or 10 times of you. Then automatically your I mind will go there, right? To see his salary slip and see the numbers. Automatically you are dragged into that. So the envy starts. And the next level, I have to reach that. Somehow or other. Nowadays people are doing the same thing, crook or hook or crook, right? So all this has happened because of that. That is called snatching others. First envy and snatching, the next level. So whatever you are due, the Lord is already allotted. You cannot claim, oh, this is my quota. The quota is already allotted by the Lord, not by us.
Even if we incur loss also, we have to accept that in that
Very
way.
simple, very simple. That's why Bhagavad Gita says, Yadishchaya Lapa Santushto. Right?
Okay.
Mataji, these are all completely mind-related subjects, and one has to practice the mind by chanting the holy names, by associating the devotees. There's only two ways. Otherwise, the mind goes crazy. Right? In the Bhagavad Gita 6th chapter, verse number 5, I think so, Krishna says, the mind is your friend while you handle it properly. The mind is your enemy the moment you mishandle it.
Yeah, Uddared Atmanatmanam.
Very good. You know that, right?
Uddared Atmanatmanam.
I didn't have to explain. You
Atmaiva
are
hi
good at
bandor, Atmaiva hi Ripuratmanah. Yes,
clear?
Yeah, yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji,
Hare
can we take one more question or is it late for you, Prabhu?
Mataji, I tell you, we are here to serve you all. I don't have any next session immediately. So
Very good. Suma Mataji, you can ask your question.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Wonderful class, Prabhuji. Pranams, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
In
All
relation
glories
to
to
the
Guru Krishna.
Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Jai.
Prabhuji, in relation to Mataji's question, which is the shloka in Bhagavatam, like that says, you need not do any extra endeavor for your to get so much more.
I think so. It comes in 764. Anybody can quickly check it. Some Google specialist or who can click it immediately. 764. Tat prayasana kartavyo yata ayuhu param. Na vindate kshema mukunda charanamujam.
Prabhuji, is my understanding correct, Prabhuji? I just wanted to know because in one of the class I have heard that whatever we want in life is already ordained by the Lord actually. So one should be
That's why I
satisfied.
said Mataji, karma kota. No? So I said, whatever the good deeds he had performed, you are reaping it here. Whatever the bad karma is done, that is also reaped.
Okay.
That's why
One
I
should
said,
do only the
Brahmacharya
devotional
when
service,
he,
no, Prabhuji?
huh?
One should do only the devotional service and need not extra endeavor.
Exactly.
That is what.
Very simple. Mataji, did you take out the sloka 764? Yeah, just type there, you'll get it. 764. No, Mataji, you have typed it wrongly. 764. 7.6.4. Yata Vyayahu Pranam. Nowadays, this problem is coming always. There is some server problem in the Veda basics. 764.
Yes, Prabhuji, it's not coming up. I'm also trying.
Prayaso na kartavyo.
Yata ayuhu vyaha
Yata ayuhu
Yes,
vyayaha
Prabhu.
param. Na tata
Avindate
vindate
kshema.
kshema. Mukunda charanambujam.
I said it rightly, no?
Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Mataji, you should not do like this, Mataji, because what happened? No, you have typed wrongly. You have to give the slash 7/6/4. Who is handling it? Screen sharing. 64 you have given, not 64. 4.
4th Mataji.
No. When you give slash, no point is required, only just 64 is not there. Now you click it, it will come. Mataji, keep the cursor after 4 and click it. Now you click it. It should come. 764. Somebody has already taken the verse, right?
Yes, Prabhuji, it is correct.
Yes, Prabhuji, it is correct, Prabhu.
Okay. What's the translation? Can somebody read it quickly?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I'll. Yes. Translation, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Endeavors merely for sense gratification or material happiness through economic development are not to be performed. For they
What does it say
result,
now? That means when we get the human form, we are not supposed to do that. Then.
for they result only in a loss of time and energy with no actual profit.
Oh.
If one's endeavors are directed towards Krishna consciousness, one can surely attain the spiritual platform of self-realization. There is no such benefit from engaging oneself in economic development.
Enough?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Exact word, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Pranams to you. Hare.
Pranams Prabhuji. Hare
Srimad
Krishna.
Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki
Ki
jai.
jai.
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha
Hare Krishna.
kripasinubhyascha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Let us make a quick prayers. His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, good health, Kelly. We always do that. Please do that. Then one devotee from Damodar Desh, that is Dubai, Chitta Hari Prabhu Atma, and his family also need support. For them also, let's pray. Then one more devotee, Meenakshi, for her also prayers required. So let us all chant twice the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare Ram,
Hare
Ram
Rama,
Ram,
Hare
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Hare
Rama,
Hare,
Hare Hare,
Krishna
Hare
Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Rama,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Rama, Hare
Hare
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare Rama,
Rama
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Krishna,
Krishna
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 Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Hare Hare
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama
Hare
Hare Rama
Rama.
Rama Rama Hare Hare.
thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for your association. Wonderful
Thank you,
class
Prabhuji.
today.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, should I end the
Patitanam
session? Prabhu, I'll do the
Vaishnavebhyo.
prayers. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa
Sindhubhyaivacha,
sindhubhyascha
Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai,
Srila
Srila
Prabhupada
Prabhupada
ki
ki
jai.
jai.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Prabhu, I'll end the class.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you
Hare
so much.
Krishna. Thank you, ma. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all devotees. Hare